Spoiler alert. The following will contain spoilers for some of the Star Wars movies, The Mandalorian, Star Wars The Clone Wars, Rebels, and the Fallen Order video game. What's up, everybody? It's me, E-Man from E-Man's Movie Reviews. After an amazing episode from The Mandalorian Chapter 13, some really interesting possibilities were introduced. Mando and Grogu, formerly known as Baby Yoda, were about to leave the planet until Ahsoka Tano gave them another adventure to pursue. That was to visit the planet Tython and seek out a temple. While there, they will find a seeing stone that could potentially amplify Grogu's force abilities and send out a signal for a Jedi to possibly come search for him. Only downside to this is that there aren't very many Jedi left after what transpired after Order 66. So I thought it would be fun to quickly go over my top 5 picks of potential Jedi that could hear Grogu's force calling and come to seek him out. Now, before we get to the top 5, I think it's pretty obvious that one of the most likely people to respond to Baby Yoda's call would be Luke Skywalker. Right after the fall of the Empire, he was intent on trying to rebuild the Jedi Order. Despite being the most likely candidate, I also think that it's way too safe for a show like The Mandalorian to have to fall back on anything directly related to Skywalkers. This show, after all, seems to be paving its own path within the Star Wars mythos, and I think it would be much more interesting to continue down a path without the legendary Jedi serving as a bit of a crutch. So for as much as we love Luke Skywalker, this list is going to include characters that I think will just be more interesting and fitting to the growing expansion of Star Wars lore. So, coming in at number 5, we have Ezra Bridger. Bridger was a Jedi that we met during Star Wars Rebels. The last time we saw him, he was jumping into hyperspace with Grand Admiral Thrawn, and ever since then, he was deemed lost. At the end of Rebels, Ahsoka Tano vowed to go searching for Ezra. In Chapter 13 of The Mandalorian, we learned that Ahsoka was tracking down information about Grand Admiral Thrawn from the magistrate of the city. This revelation of her seeking Thrawn's location could introduce the possibility that Ezra is still alive, and Thrawn is the best clue in tracking him down. At the same time, if Ezra is alive, it would be pretty cool if he ran into Grogu at the Jedi Temple location. It has been reported that Disney was looking into casting an Ezra Bridger character. Now that could be for a spin-off series or maybe an episode in The Mandalorian. I think it'd be a little unlikely for Baby Yoda to meet up with Ezra, only because I think an Ezra return would be a much better suited appearance on an Ahsoka Tano spin-off series, which, by the way, has also been reported to be happening with Rosario Dawson in the near future. So do you think it's possible Ezra could appear in The Mandalorian? Coming in at number 4, we have Cal Kestis from the Star Wars Fallen Order video game. I think it would be rather poetic in a sense to have Cal be the one to respond to Grogu's call. In the video game, he had the task of finding a Jedi holocron which contained information that was vital to creating a new generation of Jedi. However, Cal decided to destroy the holocron in order to protect the Force-sensitive children from the Sith. Just like Baby Yoda, Cal has survived the traumatic event of the Jedi Purge, and he has a vested interest in actually saving Force-sensitive children. I think from the show business side of things, this would also mean you wouldn't need a high-profile actor to play the role either. Having Cal coming into the mix would be a treat for both the video gamers and Star Wars fans who may not be all that familiar with him. A fresh-faced Jedi would be a nice welcome to The Mandalorian. Coming in at number 3, we have a oldie but a goodie, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Spoiler alert, he's dead. At this point in time, Kenobi has long been gone. However, that doesn't mean he's truly gone forever. It's entirely possible that he could make his return in the form of a Force ghost. Now, wouldn't it be a pretty cool surprise if we saw Ian McGregor pop up as a ghost and communicate with Baby Yoda at the temple? I think this would definitely excite Star Wars fans, and it would be a great advertisement too. Keep in mind that it's also been reported that there will be an Obi-Wan Kenobi series coming soon to Disney+. Kenobi would be a fantastic teacher, and he's also somewhat familiar with Grogu's species. Speaking of which, coming in at number 2, Master Yoda. Oh yes, the Grand Master himself, Master Yoda. If Force Ghosts are possible, then why not one of the most powerful Force Ghosts of them all? This wouldn't be the first time Yoda has appeared in a temple to teach promising young Jedi. Plus, I think it would be a huge missed opportunity for Grogu to never meet any one of his own species, especially another Force wielder. But let's put all of that aside. I think there's more than enough reason that Yoda could be the one to reach out. He very well just could be Grogu's father. Let's look at the facts. Grogu is 50 years old, meaning that he was born about 41 BBY. That would be about 9 years or so before Star Wars Episode 1. Not only was Yoda around during that time, but so was Yaddle, the only female of Yoda's species, who just so happened to also be on the same Jedi Council as Yoda. We also know that Jedi are forbidden from having relations and strong emotions, so maybe, just maybe, Grogu is the love baby between the two. So if Grogu goes to this temple and a Force ghost of Yoda appears, I'm not going to rule that out, especially how much Star Wars loves the father-son dynamic and themes. Now let's be honest, we all want to see Baby Yoda talk to Daddy Yoda eventually. Now before we go to the number one pick, I want to throw a curveball at you. Ahsoka Tano implied to Mando that taking Grogu to the temple would allow him to maybe enhance his Force abilities and reach out to other Jedi. Almost like sending out a Force beacon, so to speak. Well, what if that beacon was intercepted by a former Jedi? A former Jedi like Barriss Offee. That's right, the same Barriss Offee who set up and betrayed Ahsoka in the Clone Wars series. This would actually set up for a really cool situation in The Mandalorian. Keep in mind that Offee was a former Jedi that has fallen to the dark side. Imagine her presenting herself as a Jedi to Grogu, only to really tempt him to the dark side that he's already kinda sorta prone to with his fear and emotions. Then imagine Mando seeing through her deception and we have a fight between Mando and Offee. We already know that the Beskar spear and armor is a formidable matchup against any lightsaber users. I think having Barriss involved would fit perfectly into this, and yet another potential tease or setup, especially for the Ahsoka Tano spin-off show. Barriss would be the perfect villain for Ahsoka, and this potential cameo would be a great reintroduction of her character to get fans hooked. However, right now, I want you to think of Grogu sitting at the temple and a figure can be seen approaching. And coming in at number 1, we have Mace Windu. That's right, the same powerful Jedi Master who bested the likes of Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith. I know some people believe that he could be dead, and maybe he is, technically speaking, but then again, there's plenty of reason to believe that he's still alive. Sam Jackson himself has said that the Jedi can fall from very high distances. He got a little toasted from the Force lightning, and he did lose his hand, but that isn't exactly a death sentence in Star Wars. Plus, there's always a possibility that after Mace was force pushed out of the window, he could have fallen on one of those flying ships to save his life. After the purge of the Jedi, he also could have gone into hiding similar to other Jedi. Recently, there's been an interesting theory on the internet that came about after we heard Mace's voice from Rise of Skywalker. The theory talked about how having a Force Ghost voice is something relatively new that Jedi only learn from other Jedi who have also been taught how to do it. Qui-Gon Jinn was the first to discover it, and he taught it to Yoda, who taught it to Obi-Wan, and so on and so on. I think Anakin is probably the exception here because, he's the chosen one and he has a much deeper connection to the Force. So the theory here implies that one of the reasons why we even heard Mace Windu's voice in Rise of Skywalker is because he possibly survived that fall against Palpatine and had to have learned how to speak as a Force Ghost from another Jedi Master. Anyway, I just think that having Mace Windu return could make sense in The Mandalorian. With the reveal that Boba Fett is still alive, bringing Windu back would be yet another great setup for a classic revenge story after Windu killed Boba's father. I also think he would blow people's minds if for one episode we could just have Sam Jackson return in The Mandalorian. I mean, you could even make this a funny situation if you wanted to. You could have him show up just to deny Grogu the rank of master or something. Alright, well those are my top 5 potential picks of Jedi who might seek out Grogu in the Mandalorian series. I have no idea when this will happen or if it'll happen at all. Maybe it'll happen in the next episode in Chapter 14, or maybe it'll happen in a future season. I just thought it'd be interesting to think about for the time being. So who do you want to see from this list show up in The Mandalorian? If you have some other suggestions on who you think may show up, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I absolutely appreciate it. If you're new here and you like what you see, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss out the next time I drop a video. In the meantime, I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.